I wish I knew how the live streams worked a little bit better, because I don't know how to fix things. I just have to restart them. Hi. Oops. Yeah, I'm not very good with the live stream, so when there's a problem, it seems like the only thing that I can do is just hit the restart button and go from there. We lose a couple people. Hopefully they circle on back, but it's just the way she goes, I guess. But no, I think the reason why we lost sound, I had a call on the phone I had to pick real quick, but in order to do that, I gotta mute you guys. I guess when I mute you guys and then I unmute you guys after using the phone still wants to prioritize the microphone for the calling, so you don't get it back on this regardless. That's not fun. So hopefully we don't get another call that I have to pick up, but he was the big boss, so had no choice. No. But either way, what I was saying, I don't even know what I was saying. Oh yeah, we were talking about pushing the truck out of the barn. Today it's about -5, -6 right now. No, it's about -10 right now. Tomorrow it's only supposed to go like -5, -6. So basically what we're doing is today I'm letting the truck sit, trying not to touch it, all that stuff. Really letting the clear kind of do its thing. Really shouldn't even took the masking tape off, but it's just the way she goes. Anyway, letting it sit, and then tomorrow it's supposed to be nice, supposed to be a little bit warmer. I'm gonna push back the truck. We can clean up the front half of the barn. We might not even get into mechanical work or anything this weekend. Just clean up the barn so I'm not tripping over everything. But you guys will see a YouTube short of it outside the barn, and it will definitely be in the new video coming up where you can actually see it outside. How's that coffee, rookie? Anyway. But yeah, I'm excited. With all the screw-ups that are in the paint anyway, and all the little mishaps that we had, I think when we drive it out of the barn, the sun's gonna be the, what would be the best word? The gatekeeper? Or the sun's not gonna tell any lies. It's really easy to call it a really nice paint job when it's dark and it all looks black. But when it's outside, I think regardless, we're gonna have to like it. The cut and buff we might have to do, but we might even say we won't, because I think next week, whenever the truck goes out, we'll be going to get a Christmas tree in the woods, so we'll see how the paint survives that. No. How's my Tim's? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. No. It's not bad. They didn't screw up the iced coffee. Sometimes this guy's either white completely or it's like brown completely. When it's a good mix, you know you got a good one. No. But no, kind of a lax day today. We're just kind of letting the truck sit, and then a little bit later, if I really want to, I'll push it out, and we'll do that today. It depends on if it warms up a little bit. It's still a little bit cold for my liking to throw the fresh paint outside in the cold. You got to keep them warm, you know. That's why it's in an unheated barn. But it's always about 4 degrees, 3 degrees warmer in the barn than it is outside, especially because it kind of keeps the air or whatever. I should make a school bus camper. That would be pretty slick, not gonna lie. Like an old 70s International or something like that. I get behind that, or an old Chevy. Sometimes they give those things away, so not too bad. We'll see about maybe an RV coming up. Try to get a free to very, very cheap RV going and hunting it for the engine, basically, for next projects. But we'll see. There's some things that people just don't want in their yard, and if you're equipped to take them out, you can get them for a pretty good deal. I'm chewing, if you guys want to know what I'm doing. No. Pablo Escobar's car says, bed camper for the mega cab. We might get a truck bed camper because we plan on doing a little bit of driving with that thing this summer. And it's going to be pulling our trailers. Oh, geez, that's a fun hair. Pulling our trailers, doing all the work that we need to do with it. But most likely, because it's a 4-door, we'll be taking it on our... Every year we usually do a trip. This year was Cape Breton. Kind of cut short for obvious reasons. But anyway, usually we do a little segment of the trip. It's either going to be northern Quebec, Newfoundland, something like that this year. Try to hit all the Atlantics before we start moving westward. But the mega cab will work really, really good for that. Not going to lie. So a truck bed camper is maybe how we're going to attack that, but most likely I'll just get a 19-foot, 16-foot small 70s, 80s camper. Because down the road, we do plan on taking the International westward, you know, pretty as far westward as we can. It's going to be basically, whenever I can say we can do YouTube full time, it will be supporting me, my family, and all that stuff. That's going to be my gift to me, is a westward trip with the old International, the 54, all the way to the other coast and all the way back. And it might take a month. It might take 2 months to do. We'll be filming the entire time. It'll be a pretty darn slick plan. But in order to do that, it needs to have a camper that we can pull. So would we want a truck bed camper and another small camper? Really not. Really just one camper should do it. That's the overall plan anyway. Hoping for an outside pic to get better idea how long it is, the color overall look. Yep, it is on the list, really. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe even today if it warms up enough, but we'll see. I wouldn't hold my breath for today. Tomorrow should be okay. But yeah, it sounds like a pretty darn slick trip. This year is most likely just going to be mega cab powered, but the main one is International powered. So that kind of brings us into the International a little bit. I know that's not what we're supposed to be talking about here, but I'll touch on it real quick. The International, what we're building that for is kind of a fun hoon rig a little bit. It's 6.9 IDI powered, so you can't get up to too much mischief with it. But we're going to take it to the racetracks. We're going to have fun with it. It's going to be a fun car to use, fun truck to use. But the reason we're building things heavy duty is so that it can take the role of Old Blue where it needs to. If there's ever a problem with Old Blue, we can pull trailers and stuff like that with the International. No sense why we can't. It can haul scrap and stuff. That's why we're doing like a rat rod patina type paint job to it. Homemade. That is just going to be Rust-Oleum. We already have an idea in the works for that, but we touched on it long ago. We won't get too far into it in this video, but that way we can work the truck the same way we're going to be working Old Blue. They can share the same role if they need to. Obviously, Old Blue is a little bit more capable than the International is, but I'm building them both that, for me, it's nice to have a vehicle that can do the exact same thing that the other car can. In case one breaks down, you don't have to completely halt your life, basically, and doing stuff. International will be one of the coolest work and play rigs around. Yes, I think so. Because we will still haul stuff with it. The bed has that hump in it. Kind of unfortunate. But it's just the way she goes. I built it so that it can put airbags on down the road. Right now it's just leaf sprung. But down the road, I built it so we can put airbags, have no issues, that kind of stuff. And then it can basically slam to the ground and look pretty darn slick. But the airbags are gonna be so then we can haul trailers without any rake, because it's quite a small truck. If that rakes up, it's gonna float all over the place. So yeah, that's the idea on that fella anyway. Now, As for the Mega Cab, what is still needing to be done paint-wise? What we will be doing, most likely, is doing a cutting buff on the clear coat. And as we do the clear coat, or as we do the cut and buff on the clear coat, any runs, that kind of stuff, we'll hopefully be getting rid of, or at least making them smaller. But we'll see really how bad things are when we take out into the light. It's hard to say. The barn hides a lot. The light won't. And we'll make a collective decision from there. If we do a cut and buff, it will be in the next video, along with putting the mirrors on, putting the glass in, bumpers, chrome work, windows. That's hopefully the next video, hopefully before it will come out this week coming. And then that leaves us mechanical and interior, and some small like lights and the small little things that we have to go through there. Redneck Jack says, hi, how's it going? No. But yeah, it's where we left off yesterday. I was explaining basically what I wanted the Mega Cab to be. And unfortunately, some other fellas, and it's not, I don't want to hate on them or anything, because they are saying legitimate concerns and legitimate gripes with how the paint turned out. And if you look at it, I was touching on it a little bit, from a professional paintwork perspective, we didn't do a good job. It's just how it is. But from the circumstances that we painted in, unheated shop that literally has spider webs and stuff, you know, hovering from the top, dust, all that stuff. The cold is the biggest one for the runs, at least. I'm going to attribute that for that. I'm still not sure why it got rough in some patches, like the paint itself. I think that was a problem with the gun setting and me being just an under novice. But it is what it is. The best way I can say how the paintwork came is, it's just the truck. When we were driving it to begin with, I touched it on this a little bit yesterday, but when we were driving Old Blue, whenever I got it to now, it's always had the same paint. That's just how it was, and it slowly flaked off and dissolved over the 6-7 years that I've been driving that truck as is. So having a truck that is a good 40-footer, and we proved it, at least in the barn, it's a good 4-footer. Can't even see any of the imperfections from that far. We'll see how it is in the sunlight. But having a good truck, 40-footer, that looks really good, compared to a truck that literally has, it looked cool patina-wise, but trust me, it was rotten. This is the way it was. So having a truck that looks really good from far away and looks really good from medium to kind of close range, versus a truck that even from 100 feet away, you can tell it's rotten garbage. It's a good improvement. It really is. Patina has its place, but the problem is when you drive old, if the truck looks like, forgive my language, like a bag of shit, the RCMP, the cops around here, really like to sink their teeth into you. Especially if you're hauling things. If you're hauling big items, they'll pick on you. That's just how it is. So we wanted to get the truck one solid color, two-tone, I guess, two solid colors, and make it really nice from medium to close range, just so then they don't hate the truck on the road, basically, and they don't pick on me too much. This is the way how it goes. Dorset Riffraff said, some people just cut from a different cloth. Way she goes. Yep, it's 100%. And again, I'm not hating on any of the fellas that are professional body men, or that are, I would call them professional hobbyists. They know exactly what they're doing and how to do it. But the problem is this, our circumstances for time, situation, temperature, all that stuff didn't warrant that type of paint job. In a perfect world, the Trans Am wasn't gonna happen this year. The Trans Am was actually a next year project. And if you remember, we started working on the Trans Am in April, and we only finished it in August, end of August. So that whole segment was supposed to be for Mega Cab build. I was kind of hinting on that we were gonna do Old Blue at that time. But either way, things kind of went, you know, off the rails. But we were supposed to paint basically during the summer outside on the concrete slab. You might have a mosquito or two that would find their way into the paintwork, but you wouldn't have had the dust problem. You wouldn't have had any of that. You wouldn't have had the temperature issue, and hopefully a lot less runs. You would have had a better paint job, even at a novice level, but it's just the way things panned out. And in order to drive the truck, which we have to, it needed paint. It is what it is. Maybe down the road when all of our other projects are done, we'll revisit it, but I don't think so. I think that's the way she's gonna be. What is my favorite type of vehicle? Truck, or favorite kind of vehicle? Truck, I would say. Short and sweet. Truck lets you do pretty much anything you want to. And really, that's about it. A car is cool. Trans Am's really cool, all that stuff. But when I was daily driving the Trans Am, I couldn't really use it for a lot of the things I wanted to do. If there was something on Marketplace that I wanted to pick up, couldn't really pick it up. Oh, excuse me. Couldn't really pick it up. Couldn't do trash runs. Couldn't do steel runs. None of the stuff like maintenance items that make your life easier day to day, couldn't do it with the car. And that goes for most cars. If you don't care about the car, yeah, you start fill it with scrap steel, go destroy it. But we care a lot about that car, so we can't do that. So driving the car like that makes it so then we can't. Our life got harder because Old Blue wasn't there to fill in that role. If that answers your question. So International, Old Blue, I like them to pieces. I'm a big OBS fan. I'm going to call it OBS. 1980, 1996. I know that's not the right term for it, but instead of saying all the years and all the names, we're just going to call them OBS. Let's be done with it. So 1980, 1996, 97 if you're 250, 350, oddball stuff. I'm quite partial to those trucks. They haven't changed much in those years. Small things, but overall, the engines are the same, the concepts are the same, the truck is the same, all that stuff. Easy to work on. They're a good working man's truck around here. You can still get them relatively cheap if you want a single cab long bed 4-wheel drive. $3,500 gets you a pretty good truck on the road. If you want anything specialty, diesel, or a quad cab or a super cab or solid axle, you start getting into a little bit of money, especially in these days. But base model truck, 4-wheel drive, if you don't care about the engine and you just want a long bed single cab, you can still get them relatively cheap around here, and they're quite dependable. New trucks have their place. I believe if you have a new car, it's because you don't want to work on it. You want to take it to the dealer, you want them to work on it, you don't have the time, etc., etc. The problem is when you get someone like me that loves working on their own stuff and you get a brand new F-150, yada, 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 and you end up having check engine lights maybe, would say, within 20,000 clicks or 10,000 miles, 15,000 miles. And you know it's a problem that you can fix, but the warranty is going to end up paying for it, but you're still, it's a sticky situation. I don't know how well new cars and new trucks are gonna do in about 10, 15, well, I shouldn't say 10, 15. I would say about, because Old Blue right now, it's 86. Let's try to do some quick math in here. Don't make fun of me. That's 14 years from 2000, and then we're 2023, so 37 years, I think. Yeah, 37 years old right now. So, in 37 years from a brand new truck today, I'm not confident that a 37-year-old new truck from today will still be on the road. And I know Old Blue wasn't on the road when we got it, but it didn't take much at all. The new systems, I'm sure that the engines themselves from sitting might be okay. I'm sure that the transmissions from sitting might be okay. But what I'm worried is in 35 years, a lot of the computers and a lot of the electronics that run the trucks, because everything's integrated now with your big infotainment system, heater, radio, climate control, everything, especially, let's look at a Tesla, basically. I know it's an electric car, but a lot of cars have those big touch screens in the middle. They control literally every aspect of the car. When that goes, Add 30 years, you might not be able to get that part anymore at all. It might just be, oh, someone doing a burnout. It might just be unobtainium. So does that mean that that car is now just dead in the water? At least on the old stuff, a radio is a radio. Throw it in. Single DIN, double DIN, triple DIN, whatever you want to do. An engine. Put it in, change the wire and harness, you're good to go. Basic stuff, common man stuff, equals longevity. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a better product. A lot of the new, if you take a new truck and if you take a new truck and an old truck and you put them in the woods and you tell them for 3 days you're going to be hauling logs, you're going to be beating on the truck, and et cetera, I'm sure the new truck is going to do just as good of a job as the old one. But the new one is going to end up breaking a lot of other things during that time frame, and it's going to require a much bigger bill to fix. The old one, it still is going to break things, but the common fella can fix it on his own. You see that a lot in like logging trucks and stuff like that are out in the back roads all the time, like F-250s, yada, newer stuff. Leaf springs, they end up breaking. They end up twisting axles, all that stuff, but it because it's brand new, it's quite a costly bill. Either way, we're going really sidetracked, but I hope that answers your question. I like old trucks because it's not that I can't work on new stuff. I work on new stuff every day, literally every day. $200,000, $300,000 pieces of equipment. But would I be able to work on that stuff at my house without all the specialty computer systems that the dealer has? No, that's just how it is. You would be able to do the work, yes, but the diagnosing, almost impossible. It's out of the common man's reach, and that's proprietary software. So that brings me to the same point. In about 35 years, say you have systems that aren't working, or even if you find the infotainment system and you find all the computers and everything that you need to change out, secondhand or brand new, old stock, you put them all in, you still need to program those. How are you going to program those without the proprietary software? That's where you start to run into some issues. Anyway, we're going to leave the new car topic off to the side. Get back onto the mega cab. All right, what do we got? Any power mods for the International you guys thought about? Turbo. The International will be getting a turbocharger. It's on a 6.9 IDI. IDI, I believe, is 21.5 compression ratio. It's quite high, really high. And the 6.9 IDI has the smallest connecting rods and smallest head bolts out of all the IDIs. You have the 6.9, you have the 7.3 IDI, and you have the 7.3 turbo factory IDI. The 6.9 has the smallest components out of all of them and the highest compression ratio out of all of them. So it's hard to say how well that's going to survive. It might only be able to get 4 or 5 pounds of boost. Any more than that, we'll likely be breaking things. That's the way she goes. So we'll see, but it will be getting the turbocharger on the International. Maybe not at the very, very beginning, because I just kind of want to polish everything off inside the barn, get it working and done. But over the winter, next winter, I think it will be getting a turbo. It will be getting a couple things addressed that we want to address, basically. Drive the truck, see what we want to change them that year. That's the idea anyway. What else we got? I'm kind of way behind on the comments. Hold on. My old crew cab 6-speed GMC was rock guarded. Love the thing. I don't blame you. Good for pinstriping on trees and stuff like that. Ricky says, having a look decent comes a long way with police and vehicle compliance. Yes, especially around here. They're quite heavy. They actually set roadblocks up right in front of the barn all the time. So hopefully, we never got caught in one yet, but I'm sure if I drove Old Blue in its old form through there, we would still pass, but they would have gave us a hard time. And it's more of an annoyance than anything. If your truck looks the part, it goes a long way. That's how it goes. You take an old vehicle and you give a nice shiny paint job to it, a lot of people now think that it's a $30,000 truck, but it can be, it can still be an absolute pile underneath. You know what I mean? Ricky says, I can't see new trucks will be on the road in 30 years plus. I don't think so. As I said, I think the computers are going to go poof. And it's more so if you change out the computer, if you find one new old stock and you put it in, they still have to be programmed. I have a story for the new Peterbilt. I had to do a clutch on one, the automated proprietary Peterbilt transmission for the 2023 model year. I had to do a clutch on one, put the transmission in. Transmission wouldn't shift. It wouldn't move the truck. Then, after we fiddled with it, we got it to actually shift in the gears, but it still wouldn't move. The reason why, the transmission for the new clutch needed to be software updated. And not reprogrammed, not the preferences and all that stuff. I'm talking about an actual like computer update for that clutch it needed to go on. So that's what I mean. Say you didn't have the computer to do that, and you put a new clutch in and it wouldn't move, guess where you're taking it? You're taking it to the dealer. Kind of defeats the purpose of working things on yourself at the end of the day. That's just the way how new things are. It's not because it's a Peterbilt, and it's not because of Kenworth, it's not because of Volvo. That's just how everything's going. Ford, GMC, all that stuff. After treatment systems, there's gasoline particulate filters coming to Ford and Lincoln and all that stuff. It's coming in 2024, 2025. You're going to see gasoline particulate filters and urea dosers as well. That's not going to be a fun time. After treatment systems are coming to gas engines. It's just the way it is. Old stuff, you don't have to worry about any of that. You're still in compliance. It's a nice world to live in. First thing to break is the plastic skid plates. Whoever designed a plastic skid plate needs to really seriously reevaluate, because I'm pretty sure they must just be air dams for airflow and stuff like that. If they actually meant them to be a skid plate, not good. A cutting board would have been a better choice. Love the OBS. Wouldn't trade it for anything except a super built Fox body. That would be pretty slick. Always wanted a Fox, but right now, as I said, Trans Am fits the sports car role just fine. We'll see how the Fox fits down the road, but we'll see. If the channel gets big enough, I'm not against getting a whole bunch of stuff. It's just the way she is. Good morning, Wild Willie. How's it going? Put in a 12 valve in the, I believe you mean the International. I think that's what we were talking about. International is going to be IDI powered. That's just how it is. The Mega Cab down the road, I have a buddy. He wants me to put a DT 466 in it. That's an International inline 6. Smaller stuff, comes in school buses, box trucks, that kind of stuff. Makes good power, comes factory turbo. We'll see. We have to finish the International first, and I believe another project, so that kind of puts us a year out. But we'll see. We might be putting a DT 466 inside the Mega Cab. Make her pretty darn unique. If we do that, though, we will definitely want an overdrive transmission. Because if we get about 16 miles a gallon right now in the 6.9 IDI with a 4-speed and 355 gears, if we had an overdrive, we would be well up into the 20 miles a gallon range. And at these prices today, it would be a good idea to do. How does Peg get on with his stuff? I can't remember what you're referencing. You'll have to put her down in the comments again. If you're talking about his 6.9 IDIs, he just beats them to death. If you're talking about his 5.9s, he just beats them to death. But he has a dime a dozen. You ever seen his trailers on his videos? Trailers is full of 12 valves and 24 valves and old IDIs. So if he beats on them and he's doing it, you know, it doesn't really matter. We only have a select few of the old irons, so we can't afford to kill them just yet. Pete's are overrated. New rigs are designed to be worked on by dealers only for the most part now. You're very, very correct. Right now, that little 2022 Honda Tucson that we bought, so far it's been a phenomenal car. We've had to do brakes on it already, but we're almost at 100,000. But what I always say about new cars, you don't know how good of a car you have until about 100,000 kilometers, because there's an engineered obsolescence to them. I'm not sure if they overstrived on the Hyundai Tucson, and it's going to be like a 300,000 plus kilometer car, be very nice. Or if it's engineered to die off at 100,000 kilometers, like things are going to start to break at 100,000, 150,000 clicks, and it's just going to be a money pit. We'll see. The warranty on that Tucson ends at 120,000 clicks, or 5 years, but it will hit the 120,000 before the 5 years anyway. So we'll see just how good of a car it is when it reaches its age there. So far, it's been fine, other than brakes. But that's a wear item. Wild Willie says, I think it would be sweet if Ford put a 7.3 in the newer trucks. That would be awesome. It would never meet compliance. The poor 7.3, with new after treatment systems, they might be able to make a 7.3 actually hit the global compliance for that engine, but it wouldn't be the 7.3 you guys would want. The old 7.3, I believe it had EGR, and that was it. The new one, it would be so choked out with the after treatment system. It would suffer the same fate that I believe it's either the 6.0 or the 6.4 Power Stroke and Max Force engines kind of suffered from. By the engines themselves, they're great engines. All kinds of power, all kinds of torque, all kinds of good stuff. But as soon as the after treatment system plugs up, the EGR valves plug up, the orifices, the high-low pressure switch, all that stuff plugs up, the engine starts to basically eat itself alive. So I'm not sure if the 7.3 that would sometimes, like when people die, and kind of a morbid thing, but a lot of people say when someone dies, you don't want to wish them back, because say you ever did get them back, it might not be the thing you wanted. That's the way how I look at a manufacturer bringing back an old engine to the modern world. It wouldn't be what you want. I can guarantee it. Fuel mileage on a DT466 is awesome. It's a nice engine. It just is. And they're about half the cost of a 5.9 24 valve Cummins and all that stuff. They have a reputation, but it's more so with gearheads. It's not strewn about with the common folk, basically. So it doesn't suffer the inline six Cummins prices, which is pretty good. Those add-on overdrives work good. I was kind of thinking on taking a low-range box from like a semi-truck or whatever, like a divorced transmission, transfer case, however you want to call it, gear reduction, flipping it around and using that as an overdrive, but I think the overdrive would be way too high. Hard to say. And it would only work in two-wheel drive in that scenario. Something to think about. It is what it is. But a DT466, I believe, has other options that we could go about on it, that we wouldn't have to make our own drivetrain setup that's completely custom. Oh, you were talking about the inspection side of things for Old Peg. I don't think there's a lot of inspections that go on with Old Peg and Layin. I think he's very fortunate in the area that he lives in. A lot of dirt roads, I don't think there's a lot of RCMP and stuff around where he is. There's not a lot of police presence. Around here, it's not good. I think his way of life would be a lot different. But that's the beauty of living out west, really. Sometimes it goes through a fella's mind, should we go out there? Life would be a lot easier. But for right now, we're sticking maritime way. But yeah, if that likely answers your question. I think it's more so a location area, and he's very fortunate to be where he is. I have a 2012 Hyundai Accent. It turned 51 kilometers a week ago. No joke. It's awesome. No. But yeah, as for the Mega Cab, we'll kind of circle back to that at the end. It's just a short live stream today. Iced coffee. But hopefully, the next video is going to be putting the cosmetics back on it. We actually have a sponsored bit for the top roof lights. Oxido LED reached out and they saw that our LEDs were really, like our housings and stuff, were all cracked up. So they wanted to send us some bulbs and housings for us to review. Authentic style, so not lying about the product or anything like that. And we won't be nice to them if they're crap. But they're on the way. We'll see how it all goes. So we have that for the roof. We have new mirrors for the sides that I got at Princess Auto. Some new lighting. The glass is going in, the grill, the chrome, all that stuff. Next video, hopefully the truck is going to look like it should be from the outside. Anyway. And then after that, we have to blow apart the I'm just going to drop the front end out of it because we have to do 2 U-joints on the inside, reseal the front diff. It's a Dana 50, so it's already past its lifespan. Hopefully down the road, we'll be putting a 60 in it. Dana 60 solid axle. The twin I-beam is the 50. They made a solid 52, but the twin I-beam for this truck is a twin I-beam Dana 50. We have to service that, and we have to do 2 wheel seals at the back. That's part of the reason why Old Blue got parked up. Couldn't use them on the road because one of the wheel seals were dying. We have that stuff. So really, we seem to be about 2 weeks out from driving it down the road. It's already licensed. It's already insured, all that stuff. We're just basically waiting on making it safe. The safety part is the mechanical part that's coming out. And then the interior, it will likely be... We'll make mega cab content, but the interior episode will likely be a couple months of build work. And you'll see snippets of me just driving it with pieces of interior kind of thrown in there. And then it'll be one big video like the last one, like the paint work, where it's a couple weeks all said and done that make one video. Because we want to reseal the doors, put nice door cards on it. We want to do carpet. We want to do insulation. We want to do the Webesto diesel heater. We want to do the heated seats. We want to make our own headliner, which we have to do from complete scratch. So there's a lot of intricate work that we have to do. Get the dome lights working, get all the lighting system, all that stuff. Maybe even put a subwoofer in it. It'd be pretty slick. Maybe even put a coffee maker. We have a lot of real estate in there to use. It's kind of what I'm getting at. So the interior we'll be working on, but again, it's not a showroom style interior that we're going to be doing. It's going to be a work truck, utility oriented interior with some nice furnishings like a carpet and decent insulation, stuff like that, stuff to live with it day by day. So really, there's like, as for the build series itself, I guess there'd be 4 videos, 4 main videos. You have the one I just talked about, the putting all the stuff back on the outside, the interior. Then you have, what was the other one? I can't remember. Oops. But the last one that I was going to talk about is accessories. We want to make a winch style bumper addition for the chrome one. I've seen a couple of pictures of some online that I think are going to be pretty slick to do. A winch style front end, maybe even a winch style back, a back rack, a slip tank, and a toolbox. And then we want to have fifth wheel mounts, so then we can actually move the fifth wheel trailers down the road in case we get some. I would like to add one. We don't have one yet. It would be a pretty good addition to have. Work truck style stuff. Because, again, the channel is built on the back of that fella. So the more utility we can get out of them, the better off we're going to be. All right, what do we got? I'll read a couple more comments and then we're going to finish her off. Would I buy an international pickup if they brought them back? Hard to say. Hard to say. Because they brought back old stuff all the time. Like, they brought back the new Bronco. I'm not running out to go get one. They're neat looking. They're cool. But I think there's a lot of gimmicks attached to them. Like, all the accessory things that you can buy, all the utility rails and stuff. They really focus down on the Jeep Wrangler and the Jeep Wrangler type crowd, the off-roading crowd and stuff. And that's fine. It's a specialized vehicle for that. But I think they went a little bit too hardcore for someone that doesn't participate in all that to really enjoy the product. So I'm not running out to go get one of those. And they brought back the Chevy Blazer. It's definitely not the old Blazer from what it used to be. It's closer to the smaller Blazer, but even that was more of a truck and utility vehicle than the new ones are. The new one's a glorified crossover. It's a nice car. All cars that are new are nice on the inside, creature comforts, all that stuff. but it's not what it used to be. So an international truck, to me, tough as nails. It's like an old Studebaker. Tough as nails, working man's truck, just really tough. Wasn't a member of the big three, Ford, Chevy, Dodge, so they were punching above their weight, basically, to stand out. So their trucks were super good back in the day, and it just sucks that the company kind of got dissolved and bought out and all that stuff. So if international, let's say, like Navistar of today was going to bring back light duty trucks, let's just say that, and they already sort of do. If you look on their website, they have light duty and medium duty trucks. They're just rebranded Power Strokes and rebranded Duramaxes, literally with an international badge on them. I don't know how they get around that, but it's literally a Chevy truck badge or a Ford truck with a badge. But if they were going to make their own proprietary vehicle, I'd be very interested in it. But that being said, if they made a new Scout, would it be a crossover? Hard to say. Would it be a Jeep killer? Hard to say. Or would it be basically just an updated version of the Scout? Highly unlikely, but that would be the ideal scenario. That way their legacy kind of stays together. It's kind of like the Mustang Mach-E. Not a very huge hot seller. A, because it's electric, but B, they made a Mustang crossover and tried to call it a Mustang. They should have called it something else completely. It likely wouldn't have got nearly as much backlash. A Mustang to me is a coupe. It's a performance car. It was a pony car. Now it's more of a sports car. But that's the idea I have. I don't really have a crossover in my mind. So when you call that a Mustang, it doesn't really fit the bill. Then they use the name to sell the car, basically. So if International brought back their old stuff, they might call it a Scout to sell the car. It might be about as far as a Scout away that you could get. Going to my buddy's today, and he's got a 1986 Ram D150. Any mod ideas for him? Thinking a cold air intake and about a 750 CFM 4-barrel, but he has yet to get it running. That's the one at the big block, eh? The 360. I think we were talking about that on one of the last live streams or one of the comments on one of the videos. I think that's a 360 that you're talking about. 750 should be plenty of carb for that guy, especially stock. 460 Ford came out with a 700 CFM Holly from factory, so a 750 on a 360 should be fine. Basically, if it's not running right now, Evan, I would say the best mods to do it are the reliability mods. Get those done first, and then you can throw as much performance as you want at it. That way you can get behind the wheel sooner. But if it's one of those projects he's not going to drive for likely a couple of years, pull apart the engine, go through everything tooth and comb. Best way. Build it how you want the first time. Got a cool idea you want to do to an old tractor, says Wild Willie. I bet. They are pretty darn slick. We got the David Brown, we got the Massey. Take all the sponsorships that come your way. It's a great way to get your name and channel known. Sponsorships are good. Yep, I actually have a lot of sponsorship reach outs. I don't know if that's the right word to say. There's a lot of people that reach out and want to sponsor, but I'm very selective on who I'm going to spotlight. So, for example, we've had a kitchen knife set sponsorship reach out to me. I'm not going to say any names, but a kitchen knife set sponsorship that comes out. We've had internet security reach out, and they all want to do paid sponsorships, or they give us X amount of whatever to do it, but if it doesn't fit the channel, I'm not going to do it. This is how it is. It just so works out that the Oxido LED fellas, they want to support us for the roof lights regardless, because they saw how bad ours were. I'll go over it in the next video anyway when we add all the additions to it. So that's very nice of them, and in order to do that, they wanted an honest review of their LED bulbs in the housings, because this is something that people can buy, and I'm pretty sure they're only about $10 more for the complete set that you would get on Rock Auto for halogen bulbs, so it seems like a pretty darn good deal anyway. So yeah, when it's stuff like that, that's more of the common man that can actually benefit from the things, it sounds like a good idea to me. If it's something that, they're going to give us, let's say, $1,000 to talk about XYZ. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do any Clash of Clans or whatever those mobile game ones are. It's that's not my cup of tea. And I don't think that's any of your guys' either. Be nice to see it on the road. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Thoughts on the 2024 Chevelle? Oh gosh, I know. I didn't even know that there was one coming out. I'll look one up and I'll have to get back to you. It'll likely be on the next video comments. Ask me there and I'll know more on it. Oh, I'm betting it's likely Camaro based of some kind. I don't know. Or it's a trim package. Likely not good. It's likely the same way that the Trans Am kind of went. Yeah, it's a 360. Yeah, 750 carburetor should be fine for that. My idea for a tractor would be a cool wide rims and tires and tint in the windows and rig it all up interior, diamond stitch carpet, and put a big screen. Oh, you're talking about tractor trailer. Sorry, I call them tractor trailer because tractor to me is still like farm tractor. But yes, like an old Kenworth, an old Pete, old International, old Freightliner even, having those suckers done up, 100%. I actually thought about, if you're going to spend a lot of money restoring something, restoring in like a 1970s Kenworth or a 1970s Peterbilt, something like that, at least you can work with it. It can make you money at the end of the day. The old cars and old trucks really can't, but it all depends on what kind of lifestyle you want. Maybe someday we'll build an old transport, basically. That would be pretty darn slick, I'm not gonna lie. Looks like a fat or ugly Camaro. I believe it. I believe it 100%. No. But yeah, I hope that answers a few guys' questions on the Mega Cab. That was the main thing I wanted to talk about. Got cut short yesterday because of the Candyman that showed up. But I hope that answers a few of your guys' questions on that specifically, on what the Mega Cab is going to be, what we're using it for, the plans for it. And then we, it's nice to talk about a couple other things and all that stuff. But yeah, I thank you guys for coming out. Anyone that's in the States, happy Thanksgiving. Canadian Thanksgiving is all the way back in October, but I know you guys are having it right now. So, or maybe it was Friday. It's one of those. It's this weekend. Either way. I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving. Eat lots of turkey. Eat lots of pies and, get that big old belly and then sit back and watch whatever you guys are doing and just hang out with your family if you have any around and all that stuff. Friends, family, all that stuff. 100%. I'll see you guys in the next video really, really soon. Hopefully on Friday we'll have the main video coming, but the short video of it outside today or tomorrow. And then we'll actually see what it looks like in the daylight. I'm as curious as you guys are. No, that's awesome. Nice seeing you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.